Thanks to those joining me live and to those that will be joining me on archive. DStyleBoxing here. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Thumbs up the video, whether you're watching on archive or live. Support the channel. Join in the chat. I have the chat open. And if you're watching archive, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Agree, disagree, whatever the case is. All right. I'm going to give a very strong opinion here. Very strong. A lot of people are not going to like this opinion. This is a very, very, very touchy subject for some people. Right. Very, very touchy. But it has to be talked about because some of the ridiculous shit I hear is flat out ridiculous. Right. It is, guys. So first of all, this might come off as me being a hater or someone who doesn't like Bruce Lee, or and that's just not the case. All right. I think very highly of Bruce Lee and who he was and what he represented. All right. It's not that. I'm just making that clear. But at the same time, some people, they push the legend way too much. Okay. It reaches ridiculous heights when it comes to Bruce Lee. All right. Like some stuff he deserves credit for, but people they go overboard. All right. It's ridiculous how overboard they go. All right. Well, first of all, I grew up watching Bruce Lee. Okay. When I was a kid, when I was 10 years old, I thought Bruce Lee was the most invincible person of all time when I was a child. Right? As a grown-up, though, not so much anymore. Right? Not so much anymore. But it doesn't reduce who Bruce Lee was. It doesn't diminish who Bruce Lee was. Now, if you put Bruce Lee somewhere like with a deity, then of course, this video is going to rub you the wrong way, right? If you believe some of the stuff that I see people talk about when it comes to Bruce Lee, yes, this video is going to rub you the wrong way. And it's going to come off as, oh, I'm somebody who doesn't like Bruce Lee. First of all, I love Bruce Lee movies, okay? Enter the Dragon is one of my favorite martial arts movies of all time, okay? I think Bruce Lee was a phenomenal athlete. He was a freaking specimen, right? Pound for pound, was a very strong individual. Okay, he was a good teacher about life and philosophy, and he was a very damn good martial artist, right? But let me tell you what Bruce Lee is not, and the reason we can't label him this, right? Bruce Lee is not the best fighter in the history of the world. That's just not true. And if it is, we don't know that. All right? You know what we have about Bruce Lee? We have a lot of stories about Bruce Lee. A lot of hearsay about Bruce Lee. And a lot of ridiculous claims that I've heard over the years regarding Bruce Lee. Right? And it's always, well, there was an eyewitness. And some people, a lot of people that were fond of Bruce Lee said a lot of extraordinary things about Bruce Lee. Okay? Now, I'm not even going to touch on some of the stuff people claim Bruce Lee could physically do that even world-class gymnasts can do. All right? I'm not even going to touch on that. I'm just going to touch on his fighting ability, okay? There's no doubt in my mind that Bruce Lee would fuck up the average human being, okay? There's no doubt in my mind about that. But as far as, labeling him, like I've heard some ridiculous stuff about Bruce Lee, right? I hit myself in the head sometimes. It's not literally, but come on, right? Some of the stuff I hear. First of all, not that long ago, and it comes full circle, and you understand why some people start saying some things about Bruce Lee and why this stuff happens. All right. First of all, anytime you say anything, it's not even negative. It's just saying that some of the extraordinary claims people are making just aren't true. All right. A lot of Bruce Lee fans, okay, or people that just put him up there like a deity, right? They get extremely offended and they start attacking you personally, ad hominem attacks towards you. And it suddenly it becomes about how you don't like Bruce Lee and how can you be so against Bruce Lee, and haven't you seen some of the stuff he's done? And you know what they always do? They give me choreographed movies, okay? Oh yeah, look at his technique. Have you seen his technique? And then they give me a movie, right? Or have you seen his one-inch punch? Has it not occurred to you guys, all right, that in a lot of these presentations, we don't even know if this person was working with Bruce Lee, all right? Nah, but they wouldn't do that. How do you know that? What about all those people that throw themselves in the ground for Aikido masters and shit, all right? I've heard claims that, Michael J. White, not that long ago, and even him, I'm kind of like, I don't know how good he is as a fighter, but I know he does movies and stuff. And I know he has, history, karate tournaments and stuff like that. But nonetheless, he's all he said was, I could beat Bruce Lee because I would outweigh him by 100 pounds. And weight makes a big difference, right? Now, agree or disagree with him on his opinion, let me just say this. You know how many videos I saw of people coming out and saying that he should be ashamed of himself? And how many comments I saw saying, oh yeah, Bruce Lee would have him flattened so fast he wouldn't even know what happened. How do you guys know this? How do you know he would have flattened Michael J. White and so fast? The fight wouldn't even last 2 seconds. Bruce Lee would just bam, 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 and he would have been in the ground. How the fuck you guys know that? When did he ever see that? Did he ever see Bruce Lee actually do these things? We have no footage of Bruce Lee doing anything close to that to any human being. Just movies. That's it. And I see these videos, and some of them are obviously fake, but oh, he's using nunchucks to beat not one, but two, ping pong players. And I'm like, oh, that's fake, guys, right? I mean, you guys know that. Most know that, but you'll be surprised how many people actually buy this shit. Like they actually believe that's real, all right? I didn't even believe it at first. I can't believe that. And then I look at comments, and I'm like, what the fuck's going on here? And then there was this other footage, right? Somebody said to me, oh, I seen Bruce Lee spar, right? So they sent me this footage. And I'm thinking to myself, well, yeah, that guy looks impressive. But number one, there's no proof that that's Bruce Lee. That's number one. They're wearing headgear and shit. There's no proof that that's Bruce Lee. And the guy looks impressive, but we don't even know how good the guy he's fighting is. Okay, and we don't even know how much of that is choreographed. We don't even know that. You can't base things off of that. How many real fights do you have on footage? And he lived in a time of, oh no, but Bruce Lee beat people up, and he tore up the footage. Like, oh, sure, right. And of course, you believe that because, that's a very convenient fact for you, right? No, but there was witnesses. They say, that they saw this and they saw that. Yeah, isn't it funny? Some of the most extraordinary things that witnesses have seen, they just didn't catch it on film. Isn't it just quite a coincidence? So they know Bruce Lee, like, oh yeah, Bruce Lee would have been UFC champion. How do you guys know this? How do you know this? And then there's a story that comes out of a judo practitioner, I forgot his name, that choked Bruce Lee out, right? Now, we don't have footage of that either, okay? But that's the claim he makes, and, but nonetheless, I'm not going to say the name of the person, okay? But he used to be really active on YouTube and a very critical thinker, and when it comes to sports, could really break down sports very well and doesn't buy bullshit. But when it came to Bruce Lee, completely irrational, right? Hearing things like, oh yeah, Bruce Lee, after he was choked out, he started working on his ground game. And he developed a ground game that was even more advanced, that was going to be more advanced in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He was just working on it, but he didn't get to it because they killed him. Now, I don't know how Bruce Lee died, okay? That's a whole nother story altogether, all right? But that aside, Bruce Lee never developed a ground game better than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, okay? He didn't. If he had, that shit would have been everywhere, right? No, he didn't. That's not true. He may have had theories, but he never grappled against a top, you guys are making it sound like oh yeah, he grappled against Halo Gracie and he tapped him out. He showed that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu was inferior to his ground game. That never happened. Okay, he never actually grappled against the best grapplers in the world to show that his system was better. These things never happen. So these extraordinary claims are flat out ridiculous. They are ridiculous. Oh, Bruce Lee hits so hard. I'm hearing things like size doesn't matter when you hit. I'm hearing, he was a perfect size. He could beat up, no matter how big or small you are, Bruce Lee could beat you. Okay. I'm hearing things like, oh, he's like water. He could, no matter your style, he would adapt to it. And Bruce Lee had a very good philosophy regarding fighting. It doesn't mean he would beat up any dude in the history of mankind. Okay? There's a difference. Yes, Bruce Lee understood that limiting yourself to one style, right, isn't the most effective form of fighting. All right? That's very good. However, I'm sorry to tell you guys, Bruce Lee was not the first person to come up with that concept. All right? No holds barred fighting, Vale Tudo, all right, was around before Bruce Lee. Guys like world championship boxers like Jack Dempsey were practicing wrestling and jiu-jitsu, all right, and held self-defense classes because they obviously understood that boxing alone wasn't enough for self-defense, all right? This is not something that was developed solely by Bruce Lee, okay? That's not true, and he's getting credit for that. Now, it makes sense why Dana White will come out and say, well, Dana White said that he's the father of MMA. First of all, that is very disrespectful to the Gracies. The Gracies actually fought guys and challenged guys all around the world, right? For years, offered $100,000 to anyone in the world that would beat a Gracie, all right? When you had a bunch of stubborn martial artists all over the world insist that their style is superior. Bruce Lee didn't have a challenge like that, and anywhere, everywhere, we'll film it when it happens. He didn't do that. He didn't have a Bruce Lee challenge. We have a lot of alleged fights that happen. Another story that pisses me off, the Chuck Norris story. It's not true that he beat up Chuck Norris. It's not true. He beat him up in the movie. Yeah, he beat him up there. They would work out and spar together, but it's not true. And people are like, oh, yeah, he beat Chuck Norris up and he humbled him and Chuck Norris became a student. Actually, nah. Actually, that's not even true. That's a story that's been perpetuated over the fucking years. That's not true. That's not near true. It's not true, guys. You guys, I don't know who would have won that fight. I don't know. I do know that Chuck Norris fought professionally in full contact karate tournaments. I know that. Right? Now, obviously, full contact karate isn't a real fight, but it's still combative competition. We actually have footage of that. We don't have footage of Bruce Lee fighting. We don't have footage of that. Where's the footage? Give me the footage. Don't tell me, oh, look at all the skills he had, and then show me a fucking movie. Yeah, Jet Li looks really good in movies too. All right. I mean that's not how you anyone can okay, stop, cut, and then redo the scene, and anybody could look good in doing that. All right. And I'm not taking away from his athleticism and his martial arts knowledge or anything like that, but to say that's proof that he could beat up Chuck Norris is ridiculous. Oh, but there were some witnesses there. There's two sides to the story, right? Look, at the end of the day, people see what the fuck they want to see. People see what they want to see. Right? It's so different. Sometimes, you know how many times I've heard sparring stories? Or like, oh yeah, he went to sparring and man, he beat the shit out of him. And then you watch the sparring footage and it's a totally different story, right? Hearsay doesn't work in my realm. It just doesn't. Okay? A couple witnesses isn't anything, right? Hearsay is not good enough. How many official fights and against whom did Bruce Lee have? That's all I'm asking. That's it. How can you possibly come out and tell me, oh yeah, this guy would have this? I've heard ridiculous shit. I've heard shit like Bruce Lee would have beaten, Cain Velasquez in a fight. Really? You think he would have beaten? That's an extraordinary claim. You know how much bigger Cain Velasquez is than Bruce Lee? You don't think he would have just taken him down and just mauled him? No. But Bruce Lee, he would have gotten out of here. He developed a ground game that, like, really, like, you can't believe that. Like, and there's people that believe this. Oh, but Bruce Lee, he would have been Velasquez wouldn't even have touched him. He would have got him, pa pa pa, and it would have been over immediately. Like, really? Like, you guys believe that? There's people that believe that. How can you possibly believe that? Why can't he just have been a good teacher, a good philosopher, and a good martial artist? Why do you guys insist that not only is he the best fighter of all time, he would have destroyed any human being in history? Why do you guys insist in that? Like, why do we have to have that when you have no proof of it? Like, why? Why is it important for you guys to have that? And then you tell people this, right? And a lot of them have just convinced themselves of this. And they put Bruce Lee in this pedestal, and you can't say anything to these people, right? I mean, the shit's insane. Michael J. White comes out and he puts a statement, right? And Bruce Lee's birthday or something, that he apologized for saying he could beat Bruce Lee in a fight. And then I see this bozo do a video, and he's like, well, it's a good thing that Michael J. White apologized for the error in his ways. Like really? Someone saying they think they could beat Bruce Lee is like blasphemy? Are you guys ridiculous or what? You can't be serious. Like, you just can't be serious. There is many stories of Bruce Lee out there. Some good, some great, some extraordinary, some not so good. Okay, as far as how a fight went. At the end of the day, there's stories, right? That's all they are. And stories, like anything, you know what happens with a story? Somebody sees something and they tell somebody else. And that person who didn't even see it, a secondhand account, tells somebody else. And that person tells somebody else. And over the years, the story becomes, extraordinary. This is why it's important to have proof of these events actually occurring, right? There's this idea that no, but Bruce Lee, I mean, he developed himself, and he realized that Wing Chun wasn't enough, and all that's great. That there's nothing wrong with that. But to make claims that he could have defeated anyone in history, and if a current fighter says, I think I could have beaten Bruce Lee. And then they get so offended, like it's blasphemy. Like this dude's a deity, and you better not dare say that you could have beaten him in a fight. Oh, Bruce Lee's the fastest fighter ever. Says who? Says who? Well, just because you said that? No, but Bruce Lee was so fast. I mean, he would hit you so fast, you wouldn't even know what it hits you. Like, oh, really? Right. You know, I mean, come on. It's not like the guy had a professional fighting record or something, right? Like people are talking like they have proof of this, right? No, but a lot of fighters praise Bruce Lee. Well, they do because whenever someone tells the truth about Bruce Lee, right, they get attacked. If you say positive things about Bruce Lee, it helps you. Okay, that's why when Conor McGregor was going around telling people, "Oh, I'm a martial artist. I'm gonna be like water." You know, when you put the water in a teacup, it becomes a teacup. I'm a martial artist. I could make myself into a boxer and beat the boxer in his own game. Yeah, how'd that go? How'd that work out? How'd it work out for him? But people bought it because it was a Bruce Lee quote, right? That's why they bought that shit. Reality will hit you so fucking hard sometimes, all right? It will hit you so fucking hard. When it comes to combat sports, when I talk about the best and stuff like that, I'm going to talk about the guys that put it all on the line. The guys who went in there professional fights and fought other professional fighters. Those are the ones that belong in the conversation regarding who is the best. Those people. Not the philosophers, not the guys who had theories, okay, not the ones who made movies, and not the ones with alleged stories. No, not them. The ones that actually put it all on the line in front of cameras, in front of not witnesses, but audiences, all right? With the press watching. Those are the fighters that deserve conversation regarding how good they were, okay? What they could have done and how they did. Those are the fighters that deserve that, okay? Bruce Lee was a martial artist. He was not a fighter, and there's a difference, okay? And that might hurt a lot of people's feelings. That's not what a lot of people want to hear, but that's the truth. And if it's not the truth, prove me wrong then. I don't want to hear no hearsay. Like, let's say basketball, right? Let's take basketball. Like, we know who the greats are, right? Kareem and Michael Jordan and Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, right? Recently, like Shaq and well, obviously LeBron James, Kobe, right? We know who the greats are. And even then we have disagreements on how good somebody was, even though we fucking watched them, right? We still have people arguing today who's better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan, right? Even though we have footage of both guys, even then people argue. And with all that, could you just imagine this? Imagine if there was an alleged basketball player out there. We had no footage of him actually playing basketball, just him like dribbling the ball, and he had a lot of philosophy about basketball and stuff like that. But he never played in the NBA. He never played in any league. But everybody just kept saying he's the best basketball player of all time. And then you would cite, oh no, but you don't understand. I mean, Michael Jordan would play one-on-one with him. Well, do we have footage of one? No. Well, Michael Jordan said he was good, though. He said he was good, but I think Michael Jordan's being a hater, though. I don't think he doesn't want to admit that he got beat one-on-one in a game of 21 against this guy. I really, yeah, he like, you just heard these stories, right? That he was one-on-one in his personal gym in his house, he would beat all these basketball players. They were just stories, though, right? I know, but his aunt was there, and one of his students was there, and he said that he was beating Larry Bird in a one-on-one basketball game. Yeah, but did he play in the NBA? Don't know. So how the fuck we know how good he is? He didn't actually play not one game in the NBA, but several games in the NBA. Had a professional career, so we can actually analyze this guy and see how really good he is. Not hearsay, not these stories, and but a witness was there and he saw it, and nobody would buy that. Even if Michael Jordan came out and said, yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah, he wasn't a professional basketball player like me, but he had skills. Nobody would buy that. Nobody. But for someone, when it comes to fighting, everybody buys these stories. All these hearsay stories, everybody buys it. You do understand that people lie. Okay, you do know that. It's human nature to lie. You do understand that, especially in fighting, all right, there's a phenomenon where people are in such denial. Okay, they have such belief in their art and in their master that even when they see it with their own eyes, what happens, they have an excuse. Well, he didn't do this, or because he forgot to do this, and he forgot to develop his chi this way, and because he didn't do the right kata before it actually started, and they're in this constant denial. Okay, breaking them from that denial is extremely difficult. All right. It's almost no different than the people who believe that the leader of North Korea can read their minds in that country, right? That's why hearsay doesn't work. It's kind of like, could you imagine if Fight Hype was the only witness to every single Floyd Mayweather Jr. sparring? Okay, like you're not going to get the real story on what happened, and everybody knows that, right? Like it's just the reality. Could you imagine if Boo Boy was the only witness to every single Manny Pacquiao fight? Right? It says that's not what you do. That's not how it works. Guys lie. Like Hicks and Gracie, the reason that Gracie started filming a lot of the beatdowns they would put on guys, even when there was witnesses and press around, the reason they started filming it, because these guys would go back to their country and start lying and saying they won the fight, or they got jumped by multiple dudes or stuff like that. Okay? So witnesses is not enough. Okay? It's one thing to say there was an audience there. See, that's different. The press was there. That's a little different. Cameras were there. It's even more different. We cannot in any way, shape, or form take much out of these hearsay stories of Bruce Lee. All right? Bruce Lee could knock anybody out with a 2-inch punch. Says who? Says who? You don't believe that. Okay? I don't care how much of a big Bruce Lee fan you are. Maybe you convince yourself of that. But when you start thinking about it, you don't believe it, right? You don't. You don't believe that. No, but there's no buts, all right? You don't believe it. Praising Bruce Lee is good for marketing. It was good for marketing back in the day, all right? Bruce Lee was extremely popular, so if you wanted to have your martial arts school succeed, of course, you would say that Bruce Lee was the best ever and stuff like that, okay? But that's just simply not true, right? So, and one of the reasons I'm a little passionate about this is, I did karate for a couple of years, okay? So, one of the reasons I did karate was, because of Bruce Lee, all right? I fell in love with martial arts for that. So, like I said at the beginning of this, Bruce Lee deserves a lot of credit for his influence. He deserves a lot of credit for all the good things he did, okay? For the passion he instilled in people for martial arts. He deserves a lot of credit for that. But, I mean, come on. I'm a grown-up now, okay? These fairy tales, I don't buy them, right? I don't think any less of Bruce Lee because I don't believe that he could have knocked out Cain Velasquez with a 2-inch punch, okay? Like, I don't, what I mean? Like that's, I don't think any less of him. I don't think any less of him as a martial artist. Okay? And if you understand martial arts, it's about self-development and making yourself better. Bruce Lee embodied that. All right? But a lot of these stories, they got to go, man. They got to go. Yes, size matters, okay? That's why every fucking combat sport in the world has a weight class. Size matters. All right? I don't care if you show me footage of like I saw this one video where a guy showed Mike Tyson saying that size doesn't matter with a punch. Size matters, all right? Size matters a lot. If Tyson was a fucking heavyweight, who cares what he thinks? If Tyson weighed 126 pounds, he wouldn't hit as hard, right? That's physics. There's no arguing with that. And no, he didn't develop a ground. He wasn't in the process of developing a ground game better than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's a bunch of horse shit. Okay, that's horse shit. That's not true. That's just not true. Just because he choked somebody, just because he choked out Chuck Norris in the movie, doesn't mean he developed a ground system. Okay. Hey, I mean, some of you guys. I mean, seriously. Goruga, what's up, bro? Looks good in movies, but that's because he was a ballet dancer. He's talking about Van Damme. Van Damme looked phenomenal in movies. I think Bruce Lee had some real street fights. It's a bit different from that Wing Chun master who recently got beat by an MMA fighter in seconds. And you could tell he never had a real fight. Tai Chi versus MMA, I mean, if you haven't seen DStyle, why not do a quick reaction video live? Nice way to conclude this episode. Well, look, like I said at the very beginning, okay? When I say Bruce Lee was a real martial artist, what I mean by that is, right, and he had a good philosophy behind fighting, right, and what makes it, like the stories that are put out there about Bruce Lee, what makes it ironic is Bruce Lee, all right, made it his life to get rid of these myths, okay? Okay, that's what I don't think people are understanding. Bruce Lee didn't, like that Tai Chi guy, Bruce Lee would have told him he was going to get his ass whooped, right? That guy did not know how to fight, okay? Now, when I say Bruce Lee wasn't a fighter, what I mean by that, he wasn't a professional fighter, okay? He doesn't have a professional record in any combative sport, right? That's what I meant by that. But I already said at the very beginning of the video, Bruce Lee would have whooped somebody like a normal dude's ass. Of course he would, right? Now, would Bruce Lee whoop Cain Velasquez with with a 2-inch punch within seconds? Would he whoop Michael J. White in a couple of seconds? Would he whoop him so fast he wouldn't even know what hit him? Like, really? That's what I'm kind of fighting here. Then these ridiculous stories and these ridiculous claims that are being made are what Bruce Lee in his entire career fought against. You know, and that's what I'll say about that. You know, this isn't something Bruce Lee asked for. Bruce Lee wasn't out there telling everybody, "Hey, I want to be known or remembered as the best fighter of all time." That's not. But his fanatics have put him in this deity level, right? And have just begun to believe what they want to believe. They want to believe that in real martial arts, size doesn't matter. You know, that you could develop, you know, these unbelievable martial arts where you can destroy human beings with these known secrets, and where it's ironic because his entire life he just tried to disprove secrets. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the opposite of what Bruce Lee was trying to teach people. It's the opposite. You know, so this is not an anti-Bruce Lee video. This is an anti-Bruce Lee myths video. See, there's a difference. A lot of his fanatics are not going to be able to distinguish the two. They're not going to be able to do it. And when you had Boss Rudy come out and say, yeah, I think Bruce Lee would have done good in the UFC, but he would have to develop a ground game. And he started getting attacked. No, but Bruce Lee did develop it. He doesn't know shit. They wouldn't even gotten it to the ground. Bruce Lee would have knocked him out in a couple seconds. Like, really? You know, like that is ridiculous. That's I can't even start to explain to you how ridiculous that is. Now, I did see that Tai Chi Master video. That in the case of that Tai Chi Master, I'm sure he convinced a lot of his followers. Okay, I'm sure he convinced a lot of people, but that's not what Bruce Lee was doing. But Bruce Lee wasn't doing that. Okay, I just want to make that clear. I'm not putting Bruce Lee in that same boat, right? That guy had never been in any type of fight whatsoever. It looked, he probably never even did some real sparring, right? It was pretty obvious. That's why he got beat down the way he did. Anybody would have beat that dude down. Anyone who doesn't fear getting hit would have beat that dude up, right? Now, not all humans have that, right? Not all human beings can, have that instinct to fight. We all have a fight or flight kind of mechanism, and most people have a flight, meaning they don't want confrontation, okay? Because as soon as you're met with confrontation, your heart starts beating faster, and that's why an individual has to train. A lot of pro fighters in MMA, boxing, kickboxing, they learn how to deal with a confrontation and welcome it, and so it's different. That Tai Chi Master didn't know that. He believed in some magical bullshit, which I don't even know why he fought that dude, and I can't believe no one saw that coming. But that's still happening today. But I'm not putting Bruce Lee in that same boat. Let me just make that clear, right? But yeah, I already seen that video. It's kind of sad, to be honest with you, but what are you gonna do? All right, bidding the hour with Beep. What's up, Beep? The Beepster. I would bet my life savings that John Jones would beat Bruce Lee. No, but Bruce Lee would hit him so fast he'd knock him out. Here's my question to everybody. Is saying that Bruce Lee, that you like if I say it, right? If I say I don't know if Bruce Lee would have won, what weight class would he be? Lightweight or welterweight, right? Probably lightweight. I don't know if Bruce Lee would have been the champion in the UFC. I don't know. Because I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. But I think it's a stretch. I think he'd have a very hard time, especially with the knowledge of today, right? And if he gets taken to the ground, we just don't know. Like, I've heard stories of him getting choked out by a judo practitioner. So I don't know if he would have been able to survive that. But how is me saying that being disrespectful? It's funny because it's Bruce Lee till this day is one of my heroes. And I find myself in these videos, right? And it sounds, I believe it comes off as I'm being disrespectful to people that put him up there like a deity, right? It is insane to me how people put him up there like that. It's honestly insane. Video would be put, size absolutely does matter when skill and athleticism is equal. Exactly. Then, man, of course, John Jones would beat Bruce. Bruce weighed 135 pounds, so I was wrong. Bruce would be not even a featherweight in the UFC. So the people saying that he would beat Cain Velasquez is absolutely, that's insane. Okay? That's insane. What's going on, guys? So let's recap a little bit here, okay? Let's recap. Was Bruce Lee a good man? Absolutely. All right? Is he someone who could look back in history and say, man, that was a great individual. He was a great man. He impacted a lot of people's lives in a positive way. And that's the most powerful thing anybody could do. All right? Not many human beings on planet Earth could impact so many lives in a positive way. I'll never do that. Like that's unbelievable. And yes, he did. All right? He had some awesome movies. He did. I still believe that his movies are better than a lot of modern day martial arts movies. That's my opinion, but that's I believe that. Did he have a good understanding of fighting, a good philosophy that you could even argue was ahead of his time? Yes. Was he the first to do it? No. It's historically incorrect, okay, to say he's a father of MMA. That's just, I'm sorry, it's historically incorrect. But it doesn't mean that he didn't have great ideas and good understanding. It doesn't mean that, okay? He did have very good understanding, you know, especially in a day where, like I was saying, like that Tai Chi master, those are the type of people that Bruce Lee was calling out, okay, and being stuck in their ways and not developing effective fighting methods, right? So that's why I don't put Bruce Lee in that same category. Bruce Lee was a hell of a martial artist. He was a hell of a specimen. A lot of the feats people say he had are just simply not true. Okay, like say that Bruce Lee could stand in this one position for hours. Yet there's just world-class gymnasts that can do it for 10 minutes. I mean, that's just flat out ridiculous. Okay, I can't think of the feats right now, but I read through them and they're flat out ridiculous. He did not do those things. We had no footage to prove it. Okay, but I just know it's physically impossible to be done. And the myth, however, is what I can't stand. Right? I just can't stand it. Till this day, I'll hear people say, "Oh yeah, Bruce Lee would have beaten anybody." Like I've gone to house parties to see like UFC fights, and then I till this day I hear people say, "Oh yeah, Bruce Lee would have fucked all of them up." Like really? Like what? That's just simply not true. And that type of thinking and that type of putting a fighter in or a martial artist in this magical level was a type of thing that Bruce Lee was against. Okay? I think they're missing the whole point when it comes to Bruce Lee. I think that they're missing the whole point. And finally, Bruce Lee was not a professional fighter. That's just a fact, guys. That's not hating, right? When I talk about who the best fighters of all time, who's the best MMA fighter of all time, who's the best boxer of all time, the best kickboxer of all time, the best Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner of all time, the best wrestler of all time, that goes to the people who actually did it professionally, okay? That competed. And they did it over and over again. Okay? That's who the credit is going to go to. I'm going to give the credit to those people. I got to go with the data that was given to me. I cannot give it to someone who there's a bunch of hearsay stories and a bunch of this, a bunch of that. Okay? I'm not going to do that. Capiche? Now let me tell you about a martial artist that doesn't get credit. Right? Another one of my heroes, that's Chuck Norris. Right? Now I don't agree with Chuck Norris on a lot of things like politically, okay, and stuff like that. Okay, but as far as a martial artist, a lot of people don't even know this, but first of all, not only was Chuck Norris a full contact karate world champion, right? And I understand that it's not a real fight, but it's still competition against other athletes, right? Not only that, he was also a black belt in judo, right? And not only that, Chuck Norris actually went to Brazil, okay? And he actually trained with the Gracies, and he got choked out. And then he started training under them, right? And he learned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Chuck Norris was doing mixed martial arts, and he was actually practicing it. Nobody calls him the father of MMA, because first of all, because he's not, right? But, you know, Chuck Norris isn't it odd that everybody claims Chuck Norris is lying? Chuck Norris is a liar. He doesn't want to admit that Bruce Lee whooped his ass in real life. Yet Chuck Norris has no problem telling people that Halo Gracie choked him out in a couple seconds. He tells everybody, "Oh yeah, this dude choked me out." They were rolling on the ground. He told me, "Punch me." And they're like, "Oh, I'm not gonna punch you. Just punch me." And then bam, he choked him out. You know, like he has no problem telling people that. He has no problem telling people Rickson Gracie was ragdolling him all over the mat and saying, "Holy shit, I thought I was good because I knew judo. This dude was ragdolling me all over the place." He said, "I got to learn this shit." He actually, Chuck Norris asked the Gracies to go to his karate school, right, and teach his students Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He told his students, look, you guys aren't going to believe and there's footage of this. And right to his students' faces, he told them, I was rolling the ground with Halo Gracie. He took me down. I don't know how old he was at the time, like in the 70s or something. Then he took me down and choked me out. I thought you guys should learn this stuff. You know, he's like, yeah, well, we're good at kicking and punching and all that stuff, but this ground stuff, we got to learn this. Yeah, no problem telling his students, an old-ass man choked me out. Yeah, you expect me to believe he had a problem with admitting that Bruce Lee whooped his ass? Get the fuck out of here, okay? Let's see. Mejia says Into the Dragon was a dope-ass movie. I came in the movie late. A video late? What's going on? Nothing in particular. I'm just... Michael J. White recently came out. I don't know if it was recently, but I saw the video. And he said he could beat Bruce Lee because he would outweigh him by 100 pounds. He's like, that matters. And he got attacked by it so much that he actually basically apologized on social media for saying it. You know, and I just thought to myself, since when is saying, I think I could beat that guy. I'm a lot bigger than him. How in the world is that like being disrespectful? Then I saw a dude's video come out and say, it's a good thing that he found the error in his ways. Like Michael J. White did something wrong or something, like he murdered somebody or some shit. Like he broke the law, like he robbed the bank or some shit. All he said was, I feel like I could beat Bruce Lee. I weigh him by 100 pounds. That's all he said. Like, it's not, how is that disrespectful? You guys can look it up for yourselves, right? It's out there. But anyway, Jesus Christ, son. That's all I got to say. All right? All right, guys, let's see. I got some more comments. Check Gladiator, Eubank versus Ben 3 documented. They competed in a survival course. In one scene, they had to hang from a tree using only upper body. Ben was incredible in that scene. All right. Almost seemed like a superhuman feat. Ben took it way too seriously. All right. I'll watch that. But that's all I got to say, guys. Okay. I know that any sensible person is going to come out of this video and be like, yeah, it sounds like you respect Bruce Lee. You just don't like these, unbelievable stories that people tell. People are just over-exaggerating all these stories about Bruce Lee. Well, yeah, that's really all it is. That's what it is, guys. Right? Anyway, this is DStyle, and I'm out. Peace.